we had some terrible games too.
You beat a highly ranked Texas team.
We sure did, right down there too.
Pat Fisher with a nice punt return, which blew my mind. I saw the video. I'm like, what is that cornerback doing returning punts? But he looked amazing.
He was an amazing guy, and he wasn't very big. Probably weighed 168, 70 pounds, dripping wet.
Who was the best player you played with? I mean, you talk about Bob Brown, McDowell, Fisher, one of 14. I actually had a list of Mick Tinglehoff was on that team. Monty Kiffin was on that on some of those teams. Who was the best that you ever played with? Like if you had to redraft your entire roster of guys you played with, and you get to pick one, who would be the first guy
Brown.
Bob Brown. What was it? I mean, he was massive
Man that could run. He could run sprints with the backs and be for 10 yards. He'd be right with you.
Really?
Yeah. He was an unusual specimen.
Well,
and he was smart.
That's what I wanted to ask, because I think the perception has changed a little in that people think, well, dumb jock. But
sure,
that team seems to be one that was pretty intelligent across the board. I mean, you have guys who all went on to lead other men. So was that purposeful? Do you think that, or is that University of Nebraska?
Well, I must say, I remember trying to decide what school I was going to go to. And Bill Jennings was our coach. And I always remember in my house in front of my mother, he said, if he wants to go into medicine, he'll have labs. And he said, will never penalize him if he's in a lab on a practice day. I never had anybody else say that. And they did. They lived up to that. Because on Tuesday, I had this one lab for a year or two there, and I would get there at 5:00, and they were halfway through.
That's fantastic.
So I think academics were emphasized.
Yeah, I mean the rosters. I mean, it's a who's who of folks who went in first and second round in the NFL. So yeah, there was talent on the roster. You played for Bill Jennings, so you said maybe some of the coaching wasn't the best, but how would you describe Coach Jennings?
I think he was obviously a gentleman. He was a little bit, he could be real, so I say sadistic.
Okay.
You screw up,
yeah,
you're going to know it.
Yeah.
And the assistants that were close to him were like that too. And I know a few times I screwed up and I got told real quick.
How, being around the program for as long and seeing the great coaches, you're side by side with the great coaches. So Devaney and Osborne, what was a common thread? Like, what was a common personality trait that made them both great?
I would say really keeping their cool in front of players, and repetition, and tremendous repetition and preparation for games. I mean, they really you knew. I mean, those players knew what to do.
How different were they?
You mean
Devaney and Osborne?
I was never on the sidelines with Coach Devaney.
Okay.
I graduated in '62, and he came that year.
Okay.
I showed him around the campus. I remember that because I was a senior, and I thought this guy is really a comedian. I mean, he could make jokes out of everything. He was funny. And Tom was just the opposite, rather reserved and typical Tom.
What's the thing about Coach Osborne that most people don't know? Is there anything that pops to mind? You go, wow.
Well, they might think he's close to being a minister, and I never heard him utter a 4-letter word, but boy, I tell you,
you knew
when his forehead would get a little red, you better look out, because he could yell, he could talk.
He didn't have to use the language, but you knew what he meant.
Exactly.
Like, you knew exactly what he meant.
Exactly.
you have a family that's deeply, deeply tied to the university and entrenched in the university. First of all, your love for the University of Nebraska. How would you describe it?
It's my school, and I'm proud of it, and enjoy being here, and always have. It's a good place.
The family is all over the program, all over the university. How would you describe the family? How would you describe your family? What makes the Clare family? Because you've got athletes up and down, you've got educators. What describes them?
Well, I think they're all hard workers, dedicated. They know how to prepare. They know how to. They don't get caught with unprepared. Put it that way, school or otherwise.
Well, I mean, you're a surgeon like that.
Right.
you can't have an off day.
And two of them are surgeons too. My kids.
So two sons, or
two of our 4 sons are surgeons. Yes.
There's a thing that I find out about people pretty quickly is that caring about what you do and caring about how you represent yourself shows up in the work. Where does that work ethic, that caring, come from for you? You mentioned, the family doctor kind of being an influence, but for you, what personally makes you proud of what you do so much that you do it at the highest level?
Well, I guess I have to say my parents were pretty insistent upon preparation, honesty, and the right things. I guess that would be the best I could describe it.
If I asked you what the right things were in a work ethic, what's the message that you pass along?
I think work hard, don't complain. At times, keep your mouth shut and just do your job. And because I could call my dad or something, and he'd say, "Well, you got yourself into it. I'm sure you got yourself out. But don't cry to me."
and from that, I would imagine that when your son calls you, that sometimes you would say, "Well."
That's funny because they didn't do that too often. I think they knew what the answer would be. I'd say, if you're going to play, then play. And my one son, David, was a good high school running back, but he got down here, and he had Doug DeBose and so forth, and a lot of really good players. And in fact, he, I think Mike was on that team too. They were there one, and I remember one spring. The other guys were kind of hurt a little bit, and they probably weren't too gung ho about going out there because Coach Osborne scrimmaged a lot. It was very physical practices, and David was the only healthy I-back, I think, and he was just getting knocked all the way. I mean, he was 195, 200-pound kid, but he still was getting bounced around quite a bit. And I remember one time he really got flattened by Mumford, and it got real quiet, and Coach Osborne standing back there. I remember it was like, is he going to get up? And he got up and he goes, "Dave, are you okay?" And Dave goes, "Yes, sir." He says, "Next play."
Yeah, that was always the line. Are you hurt or you're injured? Like, just there's a difference. Let me know what you can do.
Yeah.
How often were you at practice every day? Was that part of the way you did?
Well,
business?
at times, yes. And then over the years, a partner of mine, Chuck Newman, and I started doing it. And then he kind of got a little disinterested, and he wasn't a football player, and he got a little disinterested. And then there's several years there I did it all alone. And then Tom Heiser, who was a football player here, and he came back, smart guy, good surgeon, et cetera. He came back here, and we did it together. And then Tom had a devastating neck injury I think he was body surfing or something, and he broke his neck, and he was was left with a real deficit, so he couldn't do it anymore. And then I had met a guy named Robert Dugas who played at LSU, big lineman, and I convinced him to come up here, and that was 1990. And so Robert Dugas is the head guy today, and then my son David helps him.
Do you talk to the current doctor? Do you talk to him ever about what's going on?
I try to stay out of the way, but I now and then we'll talk a little bit. But
That's
I'm not gonna second guess those guys or whatever.
Experts are experts. They're like, it never leaves.
It
never leaves. A couple of things from the text line. Joe wants to know what it was like working with Boyd Eppley.
Boyd was, of course, he brought the weight thing in and around the nation, even ultimately, because we were way ahead of everybody with the weights. And he and George Sullivan didn't always see eye to eye. Our head trainer, and that was always a little bit kind of playing referee in those two, because they'd get going with each other. But he was a gentleman to George. He was okay. He just had some ideas about things and weights, and it was a kind of a learning process too. But he did a great job.
But as a surgeon, when those conversations are being had, do you ever lean in? Is that a lean in process for you to go, from your perspective, you thought it was a good idea or a bad idea about how weights were being handled?
Rarely. There were a few little things, a few little maneuvers they would try, and then sometimes you'd have 10 guys in the training room that night who couldn't bend or move.
Couldn't move the next day because they did.
Yeah. And but that always took care of itself.
Trent says, Dr. Clare did all 4 of my knee scopes. Amazing surgeon and tremendous guy. So there's that. Oh my God, Dr. Clare, love that man. I always called him the big dog in surgery. He always said he was going to be on the radio one day doing country music. So I guess now now would be the time. I'm going to have to work out a way like Dr. Pat Clare's country Sundays. We'll let him come in and program his own music. We will have a good time. Dr. Clare, I used to work with the patients at St. E's in the Joint Center. Love that guy. Always great work, and the patients loved him too. That man has to have the second best wardrobe of Husker gear jackets behind only Tom Osborne. Is that fair? Do you have your own closet of just?
There was a I can't remember. A church had a
yard sale,
kind of a yard sale, yeah. And I had a pile that was 3 feet high of all those things, and those people were fighting over that.
Every Husker fan on the radio that could hear that just fainted at the idea of being able to have access, and you just gave it away.
I gave them the whole thing, and they sold it, and I think they did pretty well.
I would imagine so. As a matter of fact, I was going to say, you got any extra stuff? I know somebody that'll donate. Like, this is like any of the old stuff. Like, there's good stuff. Yes. There are a lot of folks here. I'll ask you finally, who was the best, maybe if not the best player that you were around, but your favorite player to watch?
Oh, I really, really like Turner Gill, and I still see him regularly, and we play golf, and he's just a great athlete and a great person.
Yeah, he said Clare is the man. Did surgery on my grandpa's knee, my dad's knee, and now mine. So the family, you have your own fan club, doctor.
That's very nice.
It's there. As I said to you before the show, there is zero chance I could ask you the thousands of questions that I had in my head for you. So this is just conversation 1. Thank you for making time for us today. It means the world that you would come in and share your stories.
You bet. Enjoyed it.
Dr. Pat Clare, former Husker and team doctor. Like that's come on. That's history at its best. That's good stuff. We'll throw it a break. More one-on-one when we come back.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Nguyen Vape is celebrating their grand opening with 20% off products all month long. They have the largest disposable vape selection in town and also carry Delta 8 and Delta 10 and various other moon rocks. If you're looking for help to relax, sleep, or ease pain, they have a variety of gummies you can choose from and Kratom that could help with pain relief, anxiety, and stress. You can't miss them right on the southwest corner of 27th and O Street. Nguyen Vape, your headquarters in Lincoln for vapes and Delta 8 or 10.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has been your go-to in South Lincoln for years, and their second location in downtown Lincoln is now open. Rosie's downtown spot is Lincoln's premier Nebraska party bar with the Sidetrack Band every Friday night of home games and all day for Nebraska home football games. With 34 TVs that are 65 inches or bigger, you'll always have a great view for all the games. Make sure to check out the new Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, now open in downtown Lincoln at 10th and P.
Where will you go next? The Southeast Community College Fall 2021 Continuing Education schedule of classes is arriving in your mailbox. Take a class in leadership and professional development, like real estate license prep, business courses like accounting and financials, or building a business plan, or 19 pages of personal interest classes like dog grooming, making jewelry, or even charcuterie. The entire schedule is online at southeast.edu/continuing. SCC. Your path to possible.
Century Electric is now hiring for experienced licensed electricians. This position will serve around the Lincoln area on both commercial and residential jobs. Century Electric is well established with 40 years in operation and offers a substantial hiring bonus as well as tons of benefits. For more information or to apply, go online to centuryelectric.com and click the careers tab or call them at 402-467-5550. Come work for a great company today with Century Electric, whose commitment is always to their customers.
Tailgating wasn't just meant for weekends. Join 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesdays. Scan your app with any purchase on Tuesdays and you'll be entered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, and iced tea or lemonade. Winners will be contacted each Wednesday, and you can come see Tom and Bach from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 48th and O location or at South Point each week. It's Tailgate Tuesdays all season long at Chick-fil-A in Lincoln. Want a free pair of Nebraska football tickets? Head to theticketfm.com's contest tab and register for a free pair of tickets each week of a home game, courtesy of Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of Woods Brothers and 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
We take our college football Saturdays so seriously at 93.7 The Ticket that one post-game show simply isn't enough. Join Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and DP for The Ticket post-game. 90 minutes following each Nebraska game at Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. They'll break down the game from their vantage point and bring in special guests as well, with giveaways to listeners who drop by. It's The Ticket postgame with Jay Foreman and DP at Tanner's Bar and Grill. Sponsored by Action Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning and Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
We'll see mostly sunny skies and cool conditions here for our Tuesday, topping out at around 72. The north-northwest wind at around 10 to 15. Clear and a bit chilly tonight. We'll drop down to 43 for the low. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, staying rather cool with a high of 71. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Toys and sports collectibles, 6200 Havelock Avenue.
Hi, I'm Kevin with Sports Fantastic.
And I'm Daryl at Stop and Shop Funko Pop.
We have two of the best collectible stores in the coolest place in Lincoln, in historic Havelock by Misty's. Sports Fantastic has tons of sports memorabilia for Huskers and other hard-to-find teams.
And Stop and Shop Funko Pop has all your Funko and anime needs. It's your one-stop shop on one block at 6200 Havelock.
6200 Havelock Avenue.
Back to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's so good. I have to tell you. So Dr. Pat Clare is going to stay with us for another segment. We get into the history of it. So you're talking about back in the day, they used to play an alumni versus varsity game, right? And so you were telling the story of Pat Fisher coming back he was drafted by St. Louis. As a matter of fact, he and McDowell were drafted by St. Louis Cardinals. And then they come back. And first of all, I can't possibly imagine them having a varsity versus alumni game now.
Oh, my, no. I thought some of those alums were going to die. I mean, it's in the spring, and it was late spring. It'd be like about June. It was hot, and those guys were out of shape.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
I just like the idea. So, and again, the deep dive. I'm going to talk to Dr. Pat Clare. So let me go deep dive, which turned out to be like fun because there you are, and it's again. I got heroes that were your teammates, and then I see in the box score for the alumni game that you and Pat Fisher had like back-to-back scores, and I'm just going, that had to be the time of your lives. That had to be fantastic.
Well, I was lucky. He's skilled.
Now, so you said he was the quarterback in the backfield that you were in.
There was one year when I was a junior, he was a senior, and he played quarterback.
Okay, please, I need details.
Now because Denny Claridge was the quarterback the next year.
Yeah, Claridge was the next year, who also went pro.
Yeah,
went NFL. You said 14 players. So Fisher, Pat Fisher, Ron McDowell, Monty Kiffin, Tinkelhoff, Bob Brown, Claridge, Bob Jones, Zaruba. Who am I missing?
Let's see.
And it might have been 60 or 61.
Mm-hmm.
Where you had just a depth. You had a lot of guys that went like 9th, 10th, 14th round. You had some guys.
Yeah. Lloyd Voss.
Yes. Okay. You guys were loaded. Okay, so that leads me to ask the question. All that talent. That's a ton of talent, Doctor. That's a ton of talent. Look. How do I say this? The 1 year, the record's 3-6-1, and I'm trying to figure out how. Okay. What happened?
We, like I said, defense, we were strong.
Okay.
Offensively, I don't know what happened. I mean, it was just kind of ridiculous.
Like you can look through, and for the listeners, you can go on the Husker site and go back to those years, and it'll break down the schedule. And, of course, the first highlight that pops up is the upset win over Texas. 14-13, just seemed like a great game. Pat Fisher had the kick return. And it was fantastic. But I just went, they are too good. Like, I'll ask you, Bob Brown blocked for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be, like, every play would be Dr. Pat Clare behind Bob Brown.
But we didn't always run behind Bob Brown.
That's
was
what you were
crazy.
3-6-1. That's
we played Syracuse when they won the national championship.
That's
Ernie
the Jim
Davis.
Brown or Ernie Davis year. Okay.
We played Minnesota, the one at the second year we played them. They won the national championship. I mean, there's some pretty good teams that you went up against.
Wow. So what's this town like on game day now compared to what it was then? Like, tell me what game days were like in Lincoln in 1960.
I know what they're like now. It's
it's chaos.
Pretty crazy.
Right.
They weren't like that then, unless when we beat Oklahoma when I was a sophomore, more people came at halftime.
They showed up and said,
because they said the word got around town that we were hanging with Oklahoma and we were going to beat them. That was just a good example.
"Oh,
So that was exciting.
that was fantastic." So you brought up again. This is my childhood fandom growing, was watching Washington play Philly and Pat Fisher at 5'7.5", 5'8" against 6'8" Harold Carmichael. How much of that fight did you see in Pat when he was here?
Oh, lots.
Scrappy.
He would get in fights on the practice field. And, off the practice field, he was pretty quiet and reserved.
Well, yeah, he looked like Clark Kent. He
And
put the glasses on and...
Yeah, and a guy told me one time when he was at Omaha West Side, he got kicked out of every game his senior year for fighting.
That's the best.
Yeah, he was amazing.
That's the best. Because
he told me one time, he said, I learned one thing. I learned how to tackle some guys. He said, now the first time I hit Jim Broad, I hit him about in the hips. And I think he knocked me 20 yards backwards. He said, then I learned how to cut him at the ankles. And it was a lot easier.
That was his signature move, was that in run against run. He didn't want to come up, take on tackles. He didn't want to come up, take on the big backs. He would just come up and shoot to the knees or to the ankles, and he'd make plays. And people would get angry about it. But that was kind of the game. And he said, he talked about being here in Lincoln and that he would come back even when he was a pro because he felt like he was at home.
Yeah.
That seems to be true for everybody that played here.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So how often do you talk to the guys? Do you reach out to any of them still?
Well, at this stage, unfortunately,
for those that are around, yeah,
a lot of them aren't around anymore, and they permanently, there were times when we did. Like John Kirby, for instance, from up at David City, played for the Vikings, and but he passed away, unfortunately. And then, that kind of thing went on and on and on. They had a little deal for Bob Brown a few years ago, and that was neat. He was perfect. He came back, he knew everybody. And as I said, that guy, he had a master's degree in, I want to say zoology or something.
And they don't talk about it. He's what John Facenda, the great voice of the NFL, did a thing on Bob Brown. And Nick, search the system for Bob Brown, because I think we have it, where he describes Bob Brown as a pro. And he described him as one of the best linemen in the history of the game.
I'm sure.
That we don't talk about. Ask Mark. Mark would have it. But
I love telling people that Damakan Sue has an engineering degree from Nebraska. And they go they said, I've had guys from other parts of the country, they go, yeah, right. I said, well, look it up.
He actually does.
He actually does.
Well, before I got here, I would hear these things, how important academics were for Nebraska student athletes. Once I got here, I have a greater understanding that yes, it is a thing. It matters, and I would imagine that you being on the sideline for decades has some. That's a wonderful standard to have. A former player who becomes a surgeon, a leader in the community, and a caretaker for over 40 years.
I was fortunate, put it that way.
Well. So what's the key to living your life in longevity? You're still here kicking when a lot of teammates have gone.
As I tell my friends, every day is a plus, and try to do a little exercise and eat the right stuff, or don't eat too much of it.
Well, we all need to pay attention. We all need to pay attention.
And if your parents are still alive, you're even better.
We do have it in the system. Let's play. I'm gonna thank you again, but we're gonna play the tribute to Bob Brown. Go ahead, Nick.
Good. He deserves it.
The most intimidating offensive lineman in NFL history was a huge, angry man named Robert Stanford Brown. Bob Brown didn't just block people, he buried them.
we used to practice quick kicking. That was the deal in those days.
Yeah.
And I was the quick kicker because they get the ball and turn like a pitch play.
Yeah.
And you take 2 steps and kick it off side of your foot to make it roll.
Yeah.
And when we'd practice that, it would be hut, get the ball, kick it, and then take off because Bob Brown was going to hit you, and he would park you.
Oh my goodness! Like, it's just fascinating. Again, you go back and look at the film. I coached on a team a few years ago. It still ran the wing tee in the year 2010, and he was just like medicine. You got to trust it. You got to trust it. You got to trust it. The game has changed.
Absolutely.
In your mind, is the game better now than it was?
Yeah, I think so. I would agree. I mean, the offensive concepts and the way people can defense you the same way. Now, I will say the way Tom Osborne ran an offense, though, a lot of times it wasn't very fancy.
Just good.
But boy, those guys practiced hard. They scrimmaged during the week. They really worked and they drilled people pretty hard.
Well, we will have that conversation about practices next time we come in. Dr. Clint, listen, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
You made our day. We'll throw it back. When we come back, we had an interview with Allie Batenhorst of the Husker volleyball team on One-on-One.
Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Nguyen Vape is celebrating their grand opening with 20% off products all month long. They have the largest disposable vape selection in town and also carry Delta 8 and Delta 10 and various other moon rocks. If you're looking for help to relax, sleep, or ease pain, they have a variety of gummies you can choose from and Kratom that could help with pain relief, anxiety, and stress. You can't miss them right on the southwest corner of 27th and O Street. Nguyen Vape, your headquarters in Lincoln for vapes and Delta 8 or 10.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
We'll see mostly sunny skies and cool conditions here for our Tuesday, topping out at around 72. A north-northwest wind at around 10 to 15. Clear and a bit chilly tonight. We'll drop down to 43 for the low. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, staying rather cool with a high of 71. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef is Lincoln's newest full-service butcher shop, offering premium fresh-cut steaks and house-made sausages daily from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. They exclusively carry certified Piedmontese beef raised right here in Nebraska. When shopping at the Mercado, you're not only supporting local, but also enjoying the official beef of Nebraska athletics. With prime-grade tenderness and unparalleled nutritionals, your backyard barbecue is about to get a serious upgrade. Stop into the Mercado today, located off 84th and Havelock in Lincoln.
Every time the back door closes, it squeaks and reminds me of how I used to go out back for a cigarette 2-3 times a day. When I was stressed, when I was hungry, when I was bored. But then I think of how the stale taste lingered in my mouth, and I reach into my purse and pop a stick of gum. And the craving is gone.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Now that Ken Richards has purchased Broker's Agency, he and his professional staff will continue to provide their clients with the same excellent service under the Broker's Insurance Agency name. Broker's Insurance Agency works with more than 15 companies to help find the best policy for you to avoid any long hassles. Also, if you're looking to get into the insurance business as an independent agent, they have the formula to make that process smooth and successful. Call Ken with Broker's Insurance Agency today at 402-420-5353 or visit brokersinsuranceNE.com.
You can search online for hours to find the best electricians in Lincoln and the surrounding area, but I'll save you time. High Electric has been serving their customers for 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They're experts in everything electrical, from remodeling to new additions, hot tub installations, electric vehicle chargers or EV chargers, lighting, ceiling fans, and more. High Electric takes jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at highelectric.com.
Producing the highest quality food on earth, Nutrient Ag Solutions Ashland facility remembers the people who are there for our safety on a full or part-time basis. Let's thank all career and volunteer first responders for your courage in times of crisis. Nutrient Ag Solutions is proud to be teaming up with the finest area farmers to bring safe, nutritious food to market. Fertilizer, soil, and crop concerns, and more. 402-944-2436. Nutrient Ag Solutions in Ashland thanks our military and first responders in the month of September.
Welcome to today's episode of The Great Unknowns. Last time, we talked about why chickens can't just cross the road in peace. Today's topic is the great unknowns of the future. Like, am I ready for what life throws at me? Well, that answer is easy. Just call a local State Farm agent. State Farm agents will help you plan for the what-ifs in life so you know what to expect if the unexpected happens. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Kreekak, at 402-474-1173.
You're listening to One on One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. One on one, we try to have conversations with the student athletes in a way that helps you get to know them. You're going to root for them because they're wearing the colors and they represent the state of Nebraska and the university. But within that, there are more stories behind the player, and I want to get into this. And today, we get a freshman. It's funny too. My time in Houston, folks will know. Most of you folks know. I left Houston to come here, and I lived in a place called the Woodlands, and it's pretty big volleyball network and space, and you become familiar with talented players from the state of Texas. Among them, one of Katy, Texas's finest, the Spartans, the mighty Spartans from Seven Lakes High School. Let's bring in Allie Baton-Horse. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
It's good. It's the first chance we've gotten to talk. And I knew of you when you were in high school, like as you're going through and building your resume. And then they announced that you're going to come to Nebraska. I went, okay, this is exceptional. And then I get the reach out yesterday and says, well, Allie's doing interviews. Do you want her tomorrow? Yes, I do. So you understand the difference between Houston and Lincoln, Nebraska for you. Why Nebraska and what are the differences?
Well, so I was actually born in Omaha. So I have like 90% of my family lives here and my parents went to UNL. And so Nebraska, I've kind of always grown up being a Husky fan. And I've just followed Nebraska volleyball, Nebraska football, and it's just always kind of been home for me. And even though I obviously grew up in Texas, and that's my other home, obviously, but yeah, I mean, just after visiting all the schools that I was interested in, Nebraska felt like home, and the coaches were amazing, and I just fell in love with the atmosphere, and I just have some of my best friends here, so it was just the right choice for me.
Nebraska makes a point to identify talented volleyball players early. And then they stay connected and try to do that. Is that what the bridge was between you and Nebraska rather than other schools?
Yeah. So actually my first, Nebraska was one of my first, the first camp I went to was here at Nebraska. So I kind of met all these people and I met the coaches, and I actually met all my teammates in my class right now, all the freshman class. And we kind of bonded so quickly, and we just kind of became close immediately just by being at camp for a few days. And then we kind of went on to play USA together, and we just kind of got really, really close. And we were like, yeah, I want to go to Nebraska. And it was always just one of my top schools. So it was just an easy choice for me.
Allie, it's always familiar when there is a parent in the house who's an athlete. Let's talk about your parents. What impact do they have in getting you to where you are and who you are?
Yeah. I mean, my parents are the biggest supporters ever. I mean, they have helped me get to the point. They're the reason I'm where I'm at today. And they've just pushed me to be the best version of myself, and it's helped me get involved in some amazing organizations and being involved in Houston Juniors. And I've just met some really amazing people along the way, and they've just kind of helped me get there. And they've supported me through everything, all the ups and downs. And they let me make the decision to where I wanted to go to school, and they just let it be completely up to me. And it was perfect. And I just love them to death for it. So
we're talking to Allie Batenhorst, Husker outside hitter, freshman, former, like a high school All-America. Walk me through that. Like, that's got to be such a big deal to you, personal accomplishments aside, and then team accomplishments. But for you to be awarded with and nominated and honored with being an All-American, what did that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it means everything. I worked super hard with the team, and we just, every season, it was more focused on the team, and we just worked super hard. And we just had, obviously my senior year, we had such amazing chemistry, and we were able to make it all the way to state. And, I think just working as hard as I possibly can and just kind of being for the team, the All-American just kind of came with it. And I'm just super grateful for it. And it's just honestly such an honor. And I've just always been so excited about that. It's always been one of my goals. But yeah, I worked super hard for it. So yeah.
How much did you pay attention to the other freshmen in the incoming class? How much, as the recruiting process happens and you make your choice, do you start to peak and go, we've got some folks coming?
Yeah, I mean, I just, going into the recruiting process, obviously our recruiting class is just insane, and we're all just super close. And we have such great talent, but we're also just such a great group of people, and we're all just love each other so much. And I think that's what makes us special. And that's kind of one of the major reasons I came here. So
through this early press of a season, how difficult has it been on a scale of 1 to 5 to get acclimated to the academic burden, weight, pressure, along with playing in a blue blood volleyball program?
Yeah, so I actually graduated early in December from high school, and I came here in January. So I've been here since January. And obviously because of COVID, we had the season last in the spring. So I kind of got to be a part of that, even though I wasn't eligible to play. I kind of got to experience what a season's like, how Nebraska volleyball is, and just kind of get that under my belt before moving into fall season where I'm actually eligible. So I was kind of able to get the hang of it and just kind of adjust without having the pressure of playing. And I think that really helped prepare me for this upcoming season. And I feel pretty confident about it. So
what's your favorite thing about Lincoln, Nebraska?
I just love the people here. I have so many people that I'm close to, and my best friends are here, and I love the coaches and just the atmosphere, and game days are insane, and it's just unlike anywhere else. And yeah, it's just awesome.
And it's always, especially with incoming freshmen, what is it, if you had to define this coaching staff, how would you do it?
I think they're just such a hardworking, they're all so hardworking, and they each bring something else to the table. And they're all just super supportive, and they want what's best for us. And I just think that's what's so special about them. And that's what helps us be to where we are and be successful. And I think we're really lucky to have them. So
who's the funniest coach?
Actually, Coach, like John Cook, he's hilarious. He makes some comments that are funny.
Yeah, it's always interesting to find out what the relationship is between various coaching members and then various players, because everybody has somebody that they kind of connect to. Who's that coach for you that you kind of lean on because personality-wise they fit your needs?
I'd say probably Jalen. He's just very upbeat and always positive, and just always just boosting your confidence and just being I don't know how to say it, but he's just always so upbeat and has so much energy, and it makes me happy on the court, and it just kind of brings that, lightheartedness to the court, and I love that about him. So
is there a team on the schedule that you looked at and kind of went, oh, I can't wait for this game. I can't wait for this?
Probably, I think just overall the Big Ten. I'm just so ready for that to start. And, obviously there's so many talented teams in the Big Ten, honestly, that I couldn't even choose one. But, like big games like Wisconsin, Minnesota, those are all just super exciting. And I've never got to experience that, obviously, but I'm super pumped for that. So.
Do you think it's an advantage for you having played in Texas where volleyball is such a big deal and there's such a deep pool of talent that you figure, well, you know what, I belong here. The Big Ten's not gonna knock me off my feet. I've already been competing at a high level doing what I do.
Yeah, Texas is insanely competitive. It's awesome. Like 6A was really tough competition, and there's some really amazing players that I know that are in the Big Ten now that came from Texas. And I think it's definitely prepared me really well moving into college. So
yeah, is it helpful to have an incoming class that has other freshmen playing at a high level who are already getting time on the floor?
Oh yeah, I mean, we all work so hard, and I think we all bring something else to the table, and we're all just super talented in our own ways. And it's definitely comforting, and we're super excited about the season. So.
Was there anybody on the roster who returned that you were kind of looking forward to play with a little bit more than the others?
I think I was just super excited for both Lexi and Lauren to come back, and it's just they're such amazing role models, and they compete so hard, and I've just always kind of looked up to them, and now that I'm here, it's just insane that I'm like on the team with them. So that was just really exciting, and they're really cool people, and I just love being around them. So.
Allie, first of all, again, thank you for doing this and making time again. I know you guys ran late at practice and appreciate you doing it. You got a lot of stuff going on, but I'll ask you a few things about these teammates of yours. I always need to know whose team is this?
Whose team is this? That's a tough one. I mean, we have 3 amazing captains, Lauren, Nicklin, and Kenzie, and they just kind of lead the team in their own ways, and each of them just is different and leads the team in their own ways. And I think, this is their team, I guess, and they just help. We look up to them, and they're just really amazing players and even better people. So,
who's the class clown at practice?
Probably, I would say like Ani Evans. She's hilarious. I love her.
Well, listen, kudos to your parents. Kudos to you. Congratulations on your journey to Lincoln and being able to wear the colors and do what you do. I know there are folks in the state of Texas that are proud of you as well and rooting for you and got their eyes to the Big Ten Network to make sure they can follow what you do. You have a ton of fans, and we're looking forward to what you become while you're here. So thank you for making time for us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That's Allie Bettenhorst, Huskers Volleyball.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket, KNTK on the dial.